Greetings and a warm welcome to this week's edition of 401k Real Talk. This is Fred Barstein, contributing editor at wealthmanagement.com's RPA Omnichannel and CEO at TIAA, GPSU, and 401k TV. I review all of last week's stories and select the most important and interesting ones, providing open, honest, and candid discussion you will not get anywhere else. So let's get real. First story, though adamantly claiming they are not outsourcing record keeping, TIAA announced a deal to outsource some of their functions to Accenture, with 1,500 of their employees moving, half in India, driven by declining margins and the need to continually update technology, especially around digital interfaces and the growing use of AI. Many providers like Vanguard and T. Rowe Price have preceded TIAA in leveraging outsources. TIAA has been in the news recently with multiple lawsuits and regulatory issues, all surrounding their advice or managed account service, which litigants claim have been driven by the need to improve margins, sometimes at the cost of clients, many of whom are more vulnerable than other DC plans that have independent retirement plan advisors. Next week, while the current edition of the DOL fiduciary rule has been stayed by a Texas federal court, the GAO has recently issued warnings about potential abuses with IRA rollovers, which are addressed in the rule. Commissioned by Congress in 2018 after the previous rule was negated, the GAO found that conflicts of interest with mutual funds that pay advisors have resulted in lower returns for investors, while many disclosures are misleading. They recommended stronger regulatory oversight, as the IRS currently relies on the DOL to investigate abuses, which the GAO said is not sufficient to address the issues. Not mentioned was the sale of annuities when participants terminate, which may result in even greater abuses than mutual funds, something that is not addressed, that is addressed in the DOL rule currently. Next story, following target dates, investment conflicts of interest, and record-keeping fees, forfeiture accounts now seem to be the new darling of the plaintiff's bar, with the Qualcomm case and quite a few others, as well as a recently filed lawsuit against LifePoint Health with $2 billion and 54,000 participants. A brilliant analysis by NFP's John Nelson, who has served as advisor, TPA, and attorney, clearly identifies the issue. Though a proposed IRS regulation and standard operating procedures, as well as many plan documents, allow plan sponsors to use proceeds of forfeiture accounts to offset the cost of matches rather than lowering plan fees, ERISA states that plan assets shall never inure to the benefit of the employer and shall be used for the exclusive benefit of participants. The court in the Qualcomm case stated that ERISA trumps plan documents and that the DOL, not the IRS, should be weighing in. If successful, these lawsuits will have major repercussions for many DC plans and could significantly increase costs for plan sponsors. Next story, though most think that government mandates have benefited the private sector by increasing the number of private plans, the National Bureau of Economic Research validated that belief. Looking at employers with less than 100 workers in Illinois, Oregon, California, and Connecticut from 2018 to 2022, the Bureau found that 30,000 new private plans were formed. In California, 45% of the employers chose a private solution and 27% in Oregon and Illinois. The study distinguished compliers who mostly from the leisure and hospitality industries who are likely would not have started a plan from always takers who would have anyway from industries like professional services. Next story, a column on kitchus.com detailed the need for advisors to manage clients' DC accounts and the issues they face. One option is to review and recommend changes, which are not always implemented. Another is for an advisor to use a client's credentials, which is fraught with data and compliance risks. Solutions from firms like Pontera, Future Capital, and Bloom, now owned by Morgan Stanley, seem to have addressed the issues, but some state regulators are concerned, though their reach is limited to the smaller RIAs not regulated by the SEC. Record keepers are also wary and may not indemnify breached accounts that allow third parties to access them. The issue is not going away and will likely need to be addressed in the courts or by regulators. And last but not least, this week's LinkedIn poll asked, within the next 5 years, what percentage of 401k assets will be in group plans like PEPs? 2/3 of you thought it would be less than 25%, while just 18% predicted more than 50%. Look for my next LinkedIn poll on Friday. So those were the most important and interesting stories from the past week. I listed a few others I thought were worth reading, covering room outlines, clarifications to the student loan program, another forfeiture lawsuit filed, how AI can create cybersecurity threats, are consumers becoming more receptive to retirement income, and BC's Alicia Manel details issues with rollover advice. Please let me know if I missed anything or if you'd like to comment. Otherwise, I look forward to speaking to you next week on 401k Real Talk.